Streetbees.
Maybe. There we go. Hello, everybody. We were just talking about this kind of a low energy. Maybe it's going into a long weekend, whatever kind of thing.
Maybe it's that like I need the weekend to start right now.
It does. So if you're watching this live, we'll see how this goes. But there's a lot to cover, and
there always is. There always is, right?
And we usually don't start with I don't know, bad news. Well, this is interesting. Streetbees. I'm sure everybody has heard about Streetbees. If you haven't,
so sure, there may be plenty of people who haven't heard about Streetbees.
Streetbees, UK company, took in a buttload of venture capital money a couple of years ago, like 40 million, something of that nature. And today, well, or this week, they went into it effectively bankruptcy in the UK, and not just bankruptcy like protection, like they're gone. So
like the entire, I think one of the articles that I read about it was the entire staff was made redundant, which is a very UK way of saying everyone was let go. So they went from being backed and well funded to not being able to secure a buyer and not being able to turn it around. So I mean, it's really interesting. It's the sort of thing where my mind went to, like, if I was in business school at the moment, like this would be really a cool kind of case study to wrangle about, what happened with the kind of what happened. Like, is it just, is it just because it's a volatile place to be in the research technology space? Like you can have a really great idea, concept, but it's hugely competitive. Like, what's the reason? Like, I would love to dig into this case study if I was, in a scholarly place right now, because I think it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure that. Yes, those are all interesting questions, and there is drama, I think, around all of that in some cases. I know a few folks were poking around to see if there was anything worth acquiring that I know, and they're like, no, there's nothing there. Like sub 5 million in revenue for a company that took in all of that venture capital money, no real panel left,
and not even, can we also just say, not even just venture capital money, but also like by a solid, legitimate, aspirational venture capital group, right? I mean, Guardian is not they have prestige to them,
right?
So I think that's the other thing, is where, what I'm wondering about you and I and connecting dots and all that, and I think it's still too soon for us to really tell, but what does this signal to other investors who right now, we've been talking about investment dollars and how they're, keep saying, follow the money. And then something like this happens. And in that world, sometimes the investments don't pay off.
Right.
So anyway, that's what I find really interesting about this, is that, damn.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't pay off.
It doesn't pay off. And that's, to follow on with you connecting the dots, right? I mean, there's a lot. Every week we cover some pretty eye-watering dollars flowing into business, especially early stage, right? Seed rounds. The reality is that investors are smart. They're certainly not dumb. They don't throw stupid money at things. They think there's a reason, but not everybody wins.
Yeah, not everybody wins.
Well, for whatever reason.
Yeah, for whatever reason. Let's talk about Verint, because they are in a winning place at the moment. So it's good to kind of, I think, balance the whole, okay, sometimes it doesn't work out. Other times somebody can get 2 billion. 2 billion. Anyway, I don't know anything about Verint, but they're in the CX industry. So that was interesting too, because I'm like, okay, CX, I see.
Well, it's more, to me, it was more so Thoma brought. Well, so Verint, back in the day, they bought, and I'm so sorry, I don't recall the name, but there was a early stage kind of CX oriented community platform, research platform, that became part of Verint. So their roots are in what I would consider research platforms.
Okay.
Absolutely. And now they're being acquired by Thoma Bravo. Now, Thoma Bravo, and I actually had just looked this up to make sure that I had this Right. I mean, Thoma Bravo has acquired Medallia, Verint, user testing, user Zoom, JD Power.
Interesting.
So Thoma Bravo is a private equity group that is obviously acquiring many assets that exist within kind of the broader CX space, right?
Yep.
But yet they're not
They have
combining
a
them.
large portfolio. Now
They
that
have
I'm
a very large portfolio. They're
Yeah.
a big company, right?
Yeah.
Big private equity group.
I wonder how many people, sidebar, wonder how many people who watch the exchange or listen to the exchange do what we do every now and then, which is like pull up a website real time while we're talking to check.
Right. Right. That's what I was.
Did it, and it's our show.
Yes. Well, because I wanted to make sure, because I had in my head that Thoma Bravo had acquired SurveyMonkey, which apparently they did not. I was imagining that. But point is, so here's a private equity group that is quadrupling down on various dimensions of insights and leveraging customer data in a variety of ways from a platform standpoint. But not doing the roll-up strategy, which is what you normally look for in this type of thing. If they're going to combine them and you get synergies, and there's no indication of that. They're just holding these companies. But that's interesting. We'll see as private equity will they continue to make those bets on inherently technology platforms. All of those have been really technology platforms that are embedded into how businesses engage and understand customers. So it's interesting. They're spending $2 billion, which if you're not familiar, let me give you a little hint here. Private equity does not value businesses the way venture capital does. So private equity, it is a numbers game. So it is driven by performance. So primarily EBITDA. So there is a multiple, and there's various things that dictate how that multiple goes, which the key one is ARR, right? Annual recurring revenues, which is why they're like platforms, like technology companies, because they have ARR. So $2 billion for a company that size Verint, that's not stupid money. That's a very successful business that already has significant revenue overall, and they're banking on that continuing and accelerating. So
good stuff. And it happens to be in the CX space, which is kind of a good segue into Forsta. Just dropped their 2025 State of CX report. So you can check that out. So obviously there's a lot to digest in a full report. I have not pulled it up, but
it was a lot about data privacy. So that's what caught my eye on that. Is that what they stressed was the issues around data utilization by companies within CX. So there's some real nuance there. They picked up that a lot of customers are rethinking, well, no, just because I called you, I'm your customer, doesn't mean you get to use all of my data for all of these other things. So there's a real thread in that of just consumers starting to recognize, I'm giving you my money, but now but you're making even more money off of me by my data, and not sure how they feel about that. So
trust, right? It all comes back to trust.
It all comes down to trust.
Trust you in the world of CX. How much of the experience is contingent upon trust?
Yes.
I trust that something will happen, or I trust my data to be secure. I trust when I order off of Amazon that I'm going to get the package that I want, for example, very quickly. That's why I would do that, right? Instead of shopping local or whatever. I give it to the big guy because I know it'll get here if I want the same day. But if they mess with me from a data quality standpoint, then suddenly the same trust arrangement has different parameters. And now I'm like, and now I'm not really interested in that, because I trusted you for this, but I didn't know that meant that I was going to lose all confidence in you for this.
Right.
Trust
Like I didn't sign on for this other piece.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, yes. So trust is a competitive advantage,
yeah,
which we've talked about this in other ways. To bring it back to the research world, right? Is things just become more automated, whether it's consumer, whoever it is, right? Is the buying process changes.
yeah,
Trust becomes a bedrock principle, right?
yeah,
I'm more likely to go with the company, regardless of what it is,
yeah,
that I already know, as long as it can deliver on the other things that are important to me around technological, parity and features
yeah,
and, features benefits. But
yeah.
trust is a core driver, and that stands out in that report.
So let's go to the next story that we have to share with everybody.
Right? Yes, our friends at Rep Data.
Yeah. So,
I mean, had the best possible way, Patrick and team.
yes. They put out some work. This actually, the link that Carly can share with you when we get through the links is to a LinkedIn post where they're talking about the survey and some of the results. So it's a really nice kind of briefing on this survey that they've done, where 33% of survey entrants are fraudulent. It's a bold statement.
Yeah.
Research, and also going on to urge researchers to kind of rethink their processes, protect data integrity. And there's a lot that we can talk about later in this episode today, but we cannot underscore the amount of work that brands are now doing to ensure data quality. I mean, we saw, Tia and her team at P&G are doing a lot to, I think the quote from her in that talk was, "I treat data like a crime scene." Like probably
I love Tia. She's bulldoze punches.
Gosh, my favorite quote of all time. I think I might have quoted it in an article since then too. Like, I love that quote so much, and spot on. But the whole idea that that we're now suddenly, like, the brands have to do a lot of work, and they're not really happy about how much work they have to do. But if 33% of survey entrants are fraudulent and they know it,
yep,
then you've got to prove your worth, that you are protecting that data, doing what you can, validating it, whatever you can do. And it's getting harder and harder. Once we get to some tech developments, we'll talk about why it's going to be even harder. But
well, in this one, I was looking away because I was trying to find a term that they use, and I forget exactly what now. But it's something I'm going to paraphrase: good looking. So this 33% wasn't the obvious stuff, right? A lot of this were responses that passed the initial flag sniff test. But when you scratch the surface, then realize that no, it was still fraudulent. That it was not real people giving real opinions. But they looked okay. Yeah. And that's a whole other, like if you're buying a synthetic sample, that's one thing, right? But when you're buying real sample and it's basically synthetic, well, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's just an interesting world.
Yeah, it really is.
Yep.
But all that's going on, big picture, there's a ton of product launches and new feature launches. There's so many, and this isn't even all of them, but I had to stop somewhere because I was like, all right, we can't just talk we could, but we're capable, but we're not going to just talk for an hour just on product launches. So we're just going to start rifling through some of these, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to talk about Glaut?
Glaut introduced AI moderated research software, integrating qual and quant. I think that's when we share these links with one another, just looking under the hood, everybody is, you click on them and then you kind of look at them and I'm like, all right, this one already has a great solid interface. I haven't done like a demo or whatever, but I'm like, all right, I get it. And moderated research software is here, friends. And got to check them all out to see if you're a qualitative researcher, if you're a DIY in-house researcher, see what's happening out there and see what your competition looks like. Because
I would argue everyone that we are talking about this week, other than Real-I, which we'll get to, all the rest, it's some variation of
a theme.
Yes. Which. And I have to say, this is so interesting because I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Right. that is the low-hanging fruit use case from an efficiency standpoint, and it always has been, right? And to achieve product parity with your competitive set, yes, everybody has to do this. There's no way around it. But it amazes me that I think we're already at the commoditization stage.
Yeah.
And that's for everybody out there, that doesn't mean, oh, your business is stinky. I don't mean it that way at all. I just mean when it's so easy to launch these products and everybody's doing it because they have to. It's the right thing to do. But it's quickly already becoming the digital qual component, AI moderated qual component is quickly becoming like the car has a steering wheel. So where's that leave businesses from a differentiation standpoint? I think those are going to be the really interesting challenges that companies have to get to really quickly. Is this? It's not about features,
right?
Because features are just too easy.
Absolutely. So if you do the next two on our list, Netquest unveiling, Bilendi Discuss, an AI powered qual platform. Discuss adding features. The Discuss one is really interesting because they are, blending AI-led and human-led research. So, more of the same, but they're also talking about vibe coding in their positioning, which, I every time I think about that, I'm like, that's great in the tech world. So like, of course, hats off to you, because we know what you're talking about here using the tools, but all of these companies that are doing this, that are launching these, AI versus human components or complementary parts, it has to be wrapped up into something else. To your point, it has to be wrapped up into something that, why is yours better than someone else's? Because the answer may be it's not. It's these are all just
from a technical standpoint, right? So you go back to trust. I think team it will increasingly be important here as well. The trust you got my back,
right? The execution details, the quality of your communications, of what you're pulling out, the ability to take a look at it and think critically and say, yes, this output might be the same across these different platforms, but I am the person thinking when I look at it to make strong recommendations. All of those things are going to have to start to bubble to the top. Otherwise, you just all, using that same analogy, you all have a steering wheel. Great.
Right.
Doesn't mean you're the driver.
Yes. Right. Yes. It's, and again, listeners and companies, we are all for the innovation. We're not trying to dissuade anybody from any of that, because it's simply the way that's just the way it is, right? We are in an arms race on multiple, from a technology standpoint, across the board. I just always go back to, I love the movie The Incredibles, best superhero movie ever, truly. And the line, if you haven't seen The Incredibles, there's a line where the villain says, when everybody's super, nobody will be. And hopefully I didn't spoil it, but it's a great line.
I think it's safe to say that if they haven't seen it yet, you're not spoiling anything.
Okay. Well, it's just a great, it's a great line, with the idea that unfortunately that is what happens. You reach a point in any product category where features just don't differentiate anymore. And that becomes table stakes. That's the commodity. There's other aspects, verticalization, specialization in specific business issues, user experience, service. Those things become more important because those become the differentiators. So anyway, we discuss, although I do like the vibe coding thing, guys, that was pretty cool. Discuss to use that conjointly. Now embraces LLMs. And Conjointly was a cool company that was always very focused on streamlining conjoint studies, right? Which very complex, pain in the butt thing to do. They made it really easy. Now they're using LLMs to analyze survey data. So great. Real Eye launched their eye tracking tool, Reconnect. But this was cool because it enables text dictation using only eye movements. So this is one of those things like, all right, that has big implications.
And I had also been reading quite a bit about this in other applications this week about, the ability to use your eyes to type, which is something I've only seen implemented actually. A friend of mine whose grandmother had ALS, horrible disease, got to a stage where this was what she was doing. She can no longer use her hands to type, but she could type with her eyes. So I knew that technology was out there in the medical space, and she was responding to short emails. It might have taken her a long time, and it certainly did, but she could
once for yes, two for no.
Well, it was more just where you could move your eyes on a keyboard, and if you lay your eyes on the letter and hovered there for a while, it would track it. So you could type, keep, letter by letter or word by word. I'm sure there was some technology that was word by word, commonly used words and stuff. So anyway, my point is I knew that technology was out there. This is the first time I'm seeing that kind of eye tracking, text dictation all wrapped up. And I think it's a great example of how a company like Real-Eye, who's, pretty innovative for the work that they do, tracking also what is the technology that's available in other fields. I mean, look to those fields. It's phenomenal. Lenny, sidebar. My father has Parkinson's. There are shoes that we experimented with this week, not terribly successfully, which is unfortunate because he's too late, I think, in the game. But for people that start to lose mobility, they send a pulse up through the shoe to help free up the movement. And you think about, okay, those sensors in shoes, that's cool. Is there a research application for that? Absolutely. Like, put a sensor in my shoe and you're going to track how I walk through that store, where I stop, which aisles I look at, which packages really get my attention, when do I, just loop around an end cap, or all of that. If you look to some of those dynamic medical breakthroughs, there are some really cool potential research innovations. So
absolutely,
that's out there, people. Go check out what you can check out. Anyway, hats off to July too.
Yeah, well, but we're gonna. I think did we include the new wearables article in this one? I mean so that's an obvious application within wearables. Obviously, Meta keeps investing heavily in that, and if that's embedded in that, you're controlling the interface with your eye movement. To go through screens, or to reply to surveys or whatever. It's like
the very last thing on our list, Carly, just in case you're like, what are they talking about now? But yeah, I mean, and I'm also at this place where I'm thinking, how many shop-alongs did I do where I literally had to walk behind somebody or adjacent to somebody, and then when they stop, say, tell me what you're thinking. What are you looking at? What's catching your eye? And I have to interrupt the buying journey to have these qualitative conversations with them. But if we can get these glasses to then now also have an AI dialogue, an AI chat, like, you've stopped, what are you looking at? And have that kind of same thing. Just have a running transcript of the person's thoughts as they're going through the store. I'm in the produce aisle, but I'm thinking about what are the other things that I need to make this meal that I'm making. Like, all of that potential insightful journey data.
Yeah, so cool. Really, it's amazing stuff. Hats off, Real-Eye's expanding, those use cases. That's cool stuff, right? When we find something that has applications broader than just research overall. So neat stuff. I guess finally, Side X, asynchronous video interviews. So like that shift from the survey to the video, that's inherently qualitative in form factor, if not in definition. So that pace of transformation continues. All right, you want to get into some of the
let's do this stuff. And I sit there and I think, like, yes, I want to get there. I also kind of want to bump to the last one on this list, this nano banana thing, because I feel like there's a segue if you let me go.
Go.
So Google has built this nano banana, and for a brief period of time, it wasn't sure. It was like somebody on the Google team or whatever maybe had a beta version that wasn't quite right. This was part of the conversation that I was having in my house this week, because that's part of what we do. Anyway, but if you look at the use cases of this imaging tool, so it's an imaging tool. It's basically take an AI image. Easy way to get people. If you take a picture at the beach and there's other people in your background, and you just want the water, pluck those people right out of your image. This tool can do it. But it's also like, here's the product shot, but that's not the background I want. I'm doing a I'm doing a table setting and that's not the right tablecloth. Like you can edit the images for your product shoots. You can edit your images for a lot of different use cases. And the reality of this is, as I'm looking at that and as I'm thinking about the video interviews, and I'm thinking, just when we think in the world of data quality, at least if we take some extra steps to validate the human being,
I see where you're going. Yeah.
At least we're going to feel secure and confident. And then we have the ability to manipulate images and videos like never before. And so that if you're relying on that, and I know some companies that are relying on, photo uploads to confirm that you are who you say you are in a screener, or that you're really using a product. You can't do that anymore. Here's my medicine cabinet, put a product in it.
Yep.
Here's my refrigerator, put a can of Coke in there, and now I'm a Coke drinker. Like, we have to recognize that as this AI progresses, the data quality measures we put into place might not be working today as they might have been a month ago. A month ago, we might have said, oh, phew, you cannot do that. If video editing has gotten this far, you cannot trust. It's really hard. Anyway, that's where I'm at with this. So like the video interviews and stuff, we've seen people blurring their backgrounds. So we know that the capabilities are there for me to not be in this office, but to be somewhere else, to not be in one store, but to be in another store. Like, it's the that's why I said this is the hell of a show today, because I'm tired and I'm pessimistic, and I'm not usually pessimistic, right?
No.
Like, just a lot of data quality stressors right now.
It is. Yeah. Getting echo. I don't know what that's about. Sorry. I'd like to think that the solution to that is to be more real time, because maybe we're not quite there yet where that's able to happen. But I wouldn't bank on that being part of this, at least a long-term solution. I agree. What does that come down to? Right? Trust, engagement.
And you have to keep this innovative mindset that I always fall back on. I'm encouraging people, go check out this, get that innovative mindset going, because there have to be innovative solutions that are iterated upon regularly. Like, okay, you've got data quality mastered right now. Good for you. Are you looking ahead to what data quality needs you're going to have in 3 months? Get on those, or 6 months, or a year from now. Like, you cannot, you have to just stay focused and innovate to try to figure out how you're going to get ahead of what AI is making possible.
Right. And I must say, you're a buyer, and as synthetic becomes more and more accessible, and more good, right, gooder,
more and more.
And you're faced with these choices of understanding, issues from a trade-off standpoint in terms of cost. You certainly get to the point where you think, you know what, 80% for this specific issue, this business issue, 80% of good enough for 10% of the cost.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about all of this bullshit from a quality standpoint.
Yeah.
That becomes part of the equation.
Yeah.
That is part of the buying equation. So and we just have to recognize that. There's still, anyway, it's a whole other riff.
It's a whole other thing, but let's stay with the complexity for a minute and just bounce up to the Deepgram and AWS partnership, because this is why, like, as we're doing this show, I'm trying to say, Lenny, I don't know, I'm feeling the whatever, the spot. This is why. Here's another one. So, partnership, Deepgram, Amazon Web Services announced a partnership to scale voice AI capabilities for enterprises. So easy voice capturing, or data capturing via voice, so you might think, oh, cool, better transcripts. Like, that's the obvious one. Like, oh yeah, great. If something is capturing our voice right now, our conversation, we're going to have better transcripts, which means we will have better synthesis, better results. So that's like an obvious research kind of capability that could be a good coming out of stronger voice capture, right?
Yep.
there could be better translation options. Like I think about if somebody's speaking in a different language, and right now some of the tech options are kind of crap for understanding somebody speaking in a different language. So that may be better. But also then there's something else, and there's all this data capture, voice data capturing. And is that really the way you have to go? I mean, I know that investment companies right now are doing voice matching to make sure you are who you say you are with voice matching.
Mhm.
I don't know whether can that be hacked too? Like I just, we're in this
Yeah.
world now of all of the things that we used to think were these biometrics that were differentiating, and helpful from a data integrity standpoint. Anyway, here's another layer of it. Now let's think about voice, and what does this mean for voice in the future?
Right. Yeah, and to be clear, this is AWS, so which that is critical infrastructure for business
Yeah.
for a huge chunk of the world.
Yeah.
And this technology being embedded and enabled now across the AWS ecosystem. So this isn't just a single thing.
Yeah.
This is a scalable solution that can be easily adapted
Right.
across multiple businesses now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a brave new world.
So now all of these, anyway, yeah. So it's just all a part of this. Like, you think about, okay, we're looking at, image manipulation for good, great for marketers, maybe not so great for researchers. You're thinking about, video, can video be manipulated? We know that it can. Great for creatives, maybe not so great for researchers. So, and then you think about this voice, great for researchers. Is there the other
Right.
side of that, which is maybe not so great? We got to figure that out. And will voice recognition be the next, point of you are who you say you are? Or do we have to go right to the eyeballs, right to scanning the eyes, everything?
Maybe. But, there's also when authenticity and quality and engagement is paramount. There are tried and true methodologies that that work for that. So I am not seeing that the era of traditional in-person qualitative is ending. Right? It's not. It's still very much the right thing to do for a variety of business use cases and business questions, and continues to do. You may not use it for as much as you used to, but it's still a good book of business that is in person, research, and we may see more of that. So interesting. I want to touch on this Microsoft thing because this is kind of I'm sorry, I got to say it's kind of I told you so. The the Microsoft unveiled their own MAI preview. First fully in-house foundation model, and supposedly it's already a parity with most of the other platforms. Now here's the I told you so, which I don't mean it that way, but we cannot assume everything is going to be based on ChatGPT. They were first out of the gate. They got first mover advantage. They got widespread adoption, absolutely. But Microsoft runs the majority of businesses on the planet, period. So, and if they have their own homegrown solution and it is integrated in to their platforms, that's what people are going to use. So as we've talked about the shift towards an agentic future and procurement and business and et cetera, and I'm the first one to admit I used Copilot once, thought this sucks, and I wouldn't use it again. Right. But now I'll look forward to trying this. And if they delivers the need, then all of the work that you've done to date on these other platforms doesn't mean it's useless, but you're going to have to standardize on what business standardizes on. And my bet is always going to be it's Microsoft first, Google second.
Well, Google, it's not in our brief currently, so this won't be unless you find it, Lenny. At the same time, you got it the report of the of all the AI the Horowitz, the report of all
That's
of
next week. Yeah, we'll touch on it
talk
next week.
about it next week. But spoiler alert, there's a whole lot of Google in there. So like,
Yes, right.
They are really like, if you're working for Google or Microsoft right now and you're in the insight space, like, have fun, because you're in an arms race all around, because that fight is real. There's a lot going on with those two giants.
Right. There's just so much more going on. So everybody sorry, I sound obnoxious saying told you so. I didn't mean it that way. That's a crappy thing to think about. Just be aware that this is moving so fast that you just keep
want to
looking.
know who it was directed to, because it wasn't directed at me. I don't know that it's directed to our audience. I'm like, who in general?
I've had the conversation with a few folks. I don't know if they're listening or not. Of like,
so if you're listening, he's not talking about you. He's not talking about me. He's talking about somebody else.
It's other people who shall not be named.
Somebody got into it with Lenny about this.
I'm not gonna count. I'm not betting against Microsoft. I have many complaints about Microsoft in many ways, but I'm not going to bet against them.
Well, you know what I'm not going to bet against, and this is how we're going to wrap today. I am not going to bet against the little robot that now might be delivering me my food.
Yeah.
There is this concept of a RoboMart that that we've talked about this before. I was such a big fan of Instacart when it came out. Still, I mentioned it this morning. Like, I really want to do Instacart because I need food and I don't want to run out because I'm really kind of tired today. Anyway, this little robot cart can drive through a neighborhood. So you could have ordered your food and then just it shows up here on a little robo cart. Probably not here. This is probably not the neighborhood for it, but in certain neighborhoods where there's, density and volume, you could just go outside and punch in your assigned key code, open it up, and there's your groceries delivered by a robot, probably shopped for by a robot, now delivered by a robot, not dropping from the sky. Like, for a while there, we thought all our Amazon packages were going to drop from the sky. It's not what we're talking about. This is like a drivable thing. So check out this little RoboMart. I think it's so cute. This little RM5 autonomous food delivery locker, so cute. I'm like, all right, I'd walk out to the curb and get my groceries from a robot.
The video is pretty cool.
I think it's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. In an urban area, I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
Campus, there's so many uses. Of course,
quite literally, right?
Yes, it's a no-brainer. So
I thought it would be fun to end on a robot note.
I wouldn't see that one as becoming a robot overlord yet. So
it's also called RM5. Was it on this call where I was talking about telling my mother I wouldn't hate if I had a little R2D2 around here that just I think maybe it's the short little code, little RM5 driving around our neighborhood. I'm down.
Yeah.
On that note.
On that note, so next week we have it's our 100th episode.
Oh my gosh, it's our 100th episode.
I don't think we've quite decided exactly what we're going to do, but it probably will be something a little different than this. Yeah. Although I already have 4 articles for next week in the queue, but I know.
But and you can write them too. Write them today. It's the minimum over the weekend. What do you want us to talk about? 100 episodes. I can't believe I've had 100 public conversations with you. Well,
I can't believe I've talked to you 100 times.
Well, we know that, but no, it's the public. Now, we've had a few where other people have stepped in for one or the other of us. So we have had a handful of those, but yeah, like that is so significant to me. That's the most significant thing. I think that it's going to be a momentous day. It
is. We should give 2 shouts. If you haven't taken Grit, this is last weekend. Closes on Sunday, I think. So Carly, if you want to throw that up. Seriously, this is an important one, guys. We're talking about all this change. That's what we're trying to capture. We want to quantify it. So please do that. Also, if you haven't checked out our new buyer's guides, we just released the latest ones this week. Very cool. For those who ask, why am I not in there? If you're not in our ecosystem, you don't get included. We can only talk about the companies we know about, and the way we know about companies is you're in our ecosystem. So sorry if you look at it and say, well, why am I not there?
I should be in there too.
You got to at least be in our directory because that's what we draw from. right? That's how we build it. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind. But they're very cool to help buyers. They're an extension of our Insights Tech showcases, trying to help buyers, everybody, understand what's happening in specific categories and the companies and all that good stuff. So check those out.
Yeah. Hats off. Thank you, Carly.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you want to reach out to us, the exchange@greenbook.org, I'll commandeer that because it's like my favorite thing to do is show that. Maybe it's also because I like to see Carly, shout out to Carly. But anyway, yeah, like reach out to us. Let us know how you want us to celebrate 100 next Friday. So in the meantime, if you are in the US and you're celebrating Labor Day weekend, have a great one, a nice 3-day weekend for most of us. I would say, this is almost universally, this and Memorial Day are kind of almost universally the 3-day weekends we can all count on. So
I don't think Tim triggering FOMO. Does that mean you're working on Monday, Tim? I am too. So I'm kind of like, yeah, that's great.
Let's be clear. Tim is not working on Monday.
Okay. All right.
We have much to do in our house on Monday. So
okay.
I plan on having a weekend loaded on some good relaxation, some pool time, some grandbaby time.
Oh,
I'm gonna have a good weekend. I will hopefully not be this tired on Friday. So
I hope not. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much. And we'll talk next week.
All right. Bye, everybody. Take care.